Rajari Jasoda Nandana Rajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Kirivarajari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Kirivarajari Jasoda Nandana Brajana Ranjana Jasoda Nandana Brajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading first canto Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 19, text 33. Parikshad Uvacha. Let's see, 32. Oh, okay, that's the front page. Yesam Samsmaranat Pumsam Sadya Shridyanti Vai Griha Kim Punar Darshana Sparsha Pada Sachana Satibi Yesam Samadvarat Pumsam Sadya Sadyanti Vaigriha Kim Punardarshana Sparsha Pada Sachana Sachibi Yesam Samaranat Pumsam Sadya Sudhanti Vaigriha Kim Punardashana Sparsha Pada sacha sisadibi. Yesam samardanat pumsam. Sadhya sutanti vaigriha. Kim punardarshana sparsha. Pada sacha sitadibi. Yesam samaranat pumsam.
Sadhya Shudyanti Vaigriha.
Sadhya sudyanti vaigriha.
Kim punardarshana sparsha.
Kim punardarshana sparsha.
Pada shochananadibihi.
Padi suchananadibi.
Yeshang sang smaranat pungsam
Yesam samaranat pumsam.
Sadhya shudanti vaigriha
Sadhya sudyanti vaigriha.
King punar darshana sparsha
Kim punardarshana sparsha.
Pada shocha
Pada sochananadibi.
Yesham samsmaranat pumsah
Yesam samsmaranat pumsam.
Sadhya shuddhyanti vaigriha
Sadhya sudyanti vaigriha.
Kim punardarshana sparsha
Kim punardarshana sparsha.
Pada shaucha sanadibhi
Pada sacha sisadibi.
Yesham sangsmaranat pumsam
Yesam samsmaranat pumsam.
Sadhya Shudyanti Vaigriha.
Sadhya sudyanti vaigriha.
King punardarshana sparsha.
Kim punardarshana sparsha.
Pada shocha sanadibihi.
Pada sacha sisadibi.
Yesham samsmaranat pumsam
Yesam samsmaranat pumsam.
Sadhya Shudyanti Vaigriha.
Sadhya sudyanti vaigriha.
Kim punardarshana sparsha.
Kim punardarshana sparsha.
Pada shocha sanadibihi.
Pada sacha sisadibi.
Yesham samsmaranat pumsam
Yesam samsmaranat pumsam.
Sadhya sudyanti vaigriha
Sadhya sudyanti vaigriha.
Kim punardarshana sparsha
Kim punardarshana sparsha.
Pada socha sanadibihi
Pada sacha sisadibi.
Yesham sam smarcharan not pumsam
Yesam samaranat pumsam.
sadhya shudyanti vaigriha
Sadhya sudyanti vaigriha.
kim punardarshana sparsha
Kim punardarshana sparsha.
pada shocha sanadibihi
Pada sacha sisadibi.
Yesham samsmaranat pumsam
Yesam samsmaranat pumsam.
Sadhya Sudyanti Vaigriha.
Sadhya sudyanti vaigriha.
Kim punardarshana sparsha.
Kim punardarshana sparsha.
Pada saucha sanadi.
Pada sacha sisadibi.
Yesham samsmaranat pungsam
Yesam samsmaranat pumsam.
Sadhya Shudyanti Vaigriha.
Sadhya sudyanti vaigriha.
Kim punardarshana sparsha.
Kim punardarshana sparsha.
Pada shocha sanadibihi.
Pada sacha sisadibi.
Yeshang sang smaranat pumsam
Yesam samsmaranat pumsam.
Sadhya Shudyanti Vaigriha.
Sadhya sudyanti vaigriha.
King punardarshana sparsha.
Kim punardarshana sparsha.
Pada shocha sanadibihi.
Pada sacha sisadibi. So that's everyone's chanted. Anyone would like to chant online? We'll read the word by word synonyms. Yea, some of whom samsmaranat, by remembrance, whom some of a person, sadhya, instantly, sudhyanti, cleanses, by certainly, griha, all houses, kim, what, puna, then, darshana, meeting, sparsha, touching, pada, the feet, socha, washing, asanahadbi, by offering a seat and so forth. Translation: simply by our remembering you, our houses become instantly sanctified. And what to speak of seeing you, touching you, washing your holy feet, and offering you a seat in our home. Purport: the importance of holy places of pilgrimage is due to the presence of great sages and saints. It is said that sinful persons go to the holy places and leave their sins there to accumulate. But the presence of the great saints disinfects the accumulated sins, and thus the holy place continues to remain sanctified by the grace of the devotees and saints present there. If such saints appear in the homes of worldly people, certainly the accumulated sins of such worldly enjoyers become neutralized. Therefore, the holy saints actually have no self-interest with the householders. The only aim of such saints is to sanctify the houses of the householders, and the householders therefore should feel grateful when such saints and saints appear at their doors. A householder who dishonors such holy orders is a great offender. It is enjoined, therefore, that a householder who does not bow down before a saint at once must undergo fasting for the day in order to neutralize the great offense. So that's a pretty bold statement there, and pretty nice purport. There's some things that we've been discussing on that. Prabhupada describes this verse, sa eva gokara. So Prabhupada was saying that persons go to a holy place of pilgrimage and get some souvenir or some medal there that says that I've been to such and such a holy place. But he said, but that's not the purpose of going to a holy place, just to simply take some bath and to buy some souvenir there. But it's to take the association of saintly persons who are living there and be benefited by that. So the verse is sa eva gokara, is that gokara is cow and ass, as Prabhupada says. So such persons who just go to a holy place of pilgrimage simply to take bath, to say that they just visited a holy place of pilgrimage, is no better than an ass or a cow. So here Prabhupada's saying right here that householder, they must bow down immediately when seeing a saintly person. Otherwise, they need to fast for the whole day to atone for the great offense. And so that's the purity here, simply in this verse here, simply by thinking about such holy persons like Sukadeva Goswami, our homes, our houses become sanctified and purified. So that's a nice benefit there. So Sukadeva Goswami, he's certainly qualified to speak Srimad Bhagavatam. He heard it from his great father, Srila Vyasadeva, the compiler of the Vedanta and the Srimad Bhagavatam, the natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra. And so Sukadeva Goswami, he's described in Prabhupada's purport as the Atmarama verse, 1:17:10. So it's described there of all the Atmaramas, those that are attached to the hearing of the glories of the pastimes of the Lord. Like that, so the Atmarama verse is there. And Prabhupada is saying that the four Kumaras, they're perfected because they're attracted to the smell of the flowers and the tulsi leaves offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. And Sukadeva Goswami, he's attracted to hearing the pastimes of the Lord. So there's also verses there how the Srimad Bhagavatam becomes more attractive because it's spoken by Srila Sukadeva Goswami. And it's described that just as a parrot is the beaks of a parrot that touch a mango, the mango becomes more sweeter and relishable. So Sukadeva Goswami, Sukha actually means parrot. So Sukadeva Goswami, he's a parrot-like Paramahamsa, spiritual person who makes Srimad Bhagavatam even more relishable by speaking it. So that's those verses are given there. So this prana, this is the remedy for the contaminated, contagious age of Kali Yuga, is that this prana is as light as the sun, is as bright as the sun, and it can destroy all the ignorance of darkness. So Prabhupada, I was reading in what teachings of Lokapila, is that the Vedas enjoin come out of the darkness and come into the light. So come out of the darkness of the illusion of material existence, a false identification with the material body and illusion, and come into the light and understand you're a spiritual soul, that we're not the material body, and just understand the spiritual science, and especially the topics of Godhead, like that, Krishna's name, his pastimes. So, chanting the Lord's names, coming into contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service. Prabhupada was saying yoga means devotional service. Was that discussed in class just recently? Yoga means devotional service. Yeah, that's real meaning of yoga. Like that. Yeah, Prabhupada here always talks about not this nose-pressing business, or nowadays yoga has become a fashion. It's medicine, to reduce your fat, increase, sexual stamina, make your body strong and fit, like that. But generally, yoga is meant to help to control the mind. That's what Prabhupada said in the Hatha Yoga exercises. So to control the mind by the mechanical bodily processes of the specific postures that they have, and the breathing exercises, controlled breathing. But devoid of God consciousness or Krishna consciousness, about the holy name of the Lord, or actual real devotional service, then it's just really simply another material activity like that. You can lead a person to become purified enough. But that's what Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita, that Sarvesha Aham, was that by all the Vedas I am to be known. So by studying the Vedanta, in fact, it's actually stated, Maharaj even mentioned this, and I believe Srila Prabhupada, I've heard Srila Prabhupada mention it, that just by being in devotional service, when a devotee comes to devotional service, it's to be understood. He already understands all of the purport, and has already read and studied and surpassed all of the stages and the practices and worships of all the Vedantas, all the Jnanavan, where Prabhupada says, one who is Jnani or Jnanavan. Devotee, he said, actual real devotee is real Jnanavan. Like that, is that not just speculating. Prabhupada was saying they're doing negative, like that. Not this, not that, nady. The negative side, that actually it all boils down to that there is no existence. Everything is just one, like that, or it's void philosophy, voidist philosophy. But it's just the other flip side. Prabhupada was saying that Krishna is both saguna and nirguna, not possessing material qualities, but possessing spiritual qualities. And those are mentioned in the Brahma Samhita, that he can, all of the senses can perform all the full-fledged functions of all the other senses as well. So Prabhupada is saying he can eat by hearing our prayers, like that. And so because all of the senses, they're transcendental, spiritual. He's a person, but he's not a person like us. We're limited. Our material body is a machine made of the material energy, and we have these sensory perceptors, like that. Everything is, so as Bhagavad Gita says, superior to dull matter are the senses. So we have our sensual perceptors, and then superior to the senses is the mind. So now the mind, all of the input from the sensory perceptors is analyzed in the mind, and it's like that. So then we have our sight and sound, sensation, feeling, taste, and smell, like that. So they can have, visual recognition, fiber optic cables, like that, or sound, right? And try to give the computer some sort of AI to be able to respond to sound or to visual stimuli. But I don't think that they've come up with anything yet that has maybe a temperature thermometer, a heat sensor. But I don't think they've got anything that can the equivalent of smelling or tasting. But at any rate, this material body, it's a machine made of material energy, and was just simply carried away by the three modes of material nature, where the three modes of material nature are in place and are acting in modes of ignorance, the modes of passion, and the modes of goodness. So like that. So by the devotional service process, we surpass all the bodily, sensual, mental platforms. And Prabhupada was saying that Krishna says we worship Krishna by our intelligence by studying Bhagavad Gita, like that. So it surpassed the intelligence platform by the intelligence in the mind, or control the lower self by the higher self, and to understand just what is Krishna, like that. So just try to hear from a spiritual master, from the authoritative scriptures, from the authorities, about Krishna's pastimes, about Krishna's qualities. Krishna has 64 qualities. The last 4 qualities no one else has got. They're specifically reserved for Krishna only. And one of them is that Krishna plays the flute. So there was a person, he went to so many different temples in India, and he saw so many different demigods. He saw the gruesome, horrible form of Kali with the skulls around her neck and the various weapons and her 10 hands. And cutting off the hands of demons, like that. He's saying, so, and he's seen the Murti of Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Well, I guess the Brahma doesn't really have any worshippers. He doesn't have any temples, but there is Ganesh. So he saw all the different demigods, Lakshmi, or Mother Saraswati. But when he comes to see Krishna, he's just simply playing on a flute. He's under the tree, and he has his gopis, the sakis, the peacocks, and the cows, the forest flowers of Vrindavan, like that. So he says, well, everybody else is doing something, but here Krishna, he's just enjoying. There's a concept of God. He's a very, very old man. Prabhupada was mentioning this. He has a long beard. He's a really, really old man. They have a Michelangelo painting where David or man is touching the finger of God, and God's really, really old, like that. But God is like ever fresh, he's ever new. He never appears older than youth. Like that, is ever fresh. He's not like getting really, really old because he created the world so long ago, and he's just simply getting old with the world, like that. And he's judging. God's duty is to judge everybody for their sins. He's sending people to heaven and hell. So it's kind of more like a judge. We were just talking about that, like the judge. He's going to award somebody some money, and he's going to make somebody pay some money. Or he's going to make somebody go to prison or jail. He's going to make somebody come out of prison or jail. He's going to tell them, didn't I see you? I didn't want to see you in my court again. How about Yamaraj? Yamaraj saying that, hey, what did I tell you? Didn't I tell you not to get out of the bodily concept of life and to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not to come to my court again? So that's what we can probably expect to become perfect in this lifetime. Prabhupada says that no one can say they're not on the threshold of death. Everyone, they're on the threshold of death. Here, Maharaj Persky was saying his position is more secure than our position, that at least he knew he had 7 days. But we don't even know if we have 7 minutes or 7 seconds. We don't have anything guaranteed like that. So we should always be prepared. The death may come, Prabhupada said, the death may come at any moment. So just chanting Hare Krishna, remembering Krishna at that crucial point, Krishna will take care of everything. And so that's And then that's most glorious. And that's the human pursuit. That's actual human life. Otherwise, it's animal life. We're here they're talking about like the grihas, the specific homes where the name of the Lord are not chanted, they're not studying Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, but hearing so many other useless gramya katha. And so these, what is it? It's the place of pilgrimage for crows. It's mentioned that in Nectar of Instruction. But the swan-like persons, they take pleasure in hearing of the pastimes of the Lord at every moment. So this is the sages, saints and sages, they were describing that. Please describe the pastimes of the Lord, for we never tire to hear such magnanimous activities, which are gracious and magnanimous. They're unparalleled in this world. Even the demigods, we're reading 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam when we read Krishna book. Even the demigods are bewildered. This description how Krishna was sharing his lunch with the cowherd boys. But what they're bewildered about is that Krishna is surpassing all Vedic etiquette. Like that, Krishna has like prasadam, he's eating with his hands, and he's sharing his prasadam with the other cowherd boys. And there's a description there how there was like some foodstuffs and yogurt and things like that. It made Krishna's hands even more beautiful. Like that. So the actual Vedic concept of cleanliness is that we don't actually really share our food like that. Or that Krishna is he's dancing with the wives of other men. Their other husbands are at home. So these married women, they're running to Krishna in the dead of night, not even dressed properly or putting on their mascara, their makeup even on properly or evenly. And they're running to Krishna. Krishna's playing the flute too, and they're giving up everything, giving up their family, their homes, their prestige, their respect to enjoy with Krishna. And not only that, but that specific night of the Rasa Leela becomes as long as a Brahma Muhurta, 1,000 yuga ages taken together like that for the whole night. By Krishna's mystic potency, everyone just remained asleep or in their activities and didn't know that so much time had passed by when they enjoyed. So that's practically almost like an eternity. So we can think of that, how everything becomes more fresh and more new, and we have a intimate, loving service relationship with Krishna in any of the 5 rasas of either neutrality, servitorship, parental affection, friendship, or conjugal love. The way that Krishna and the Bhakta the way Krishna wants to be served by the Bhakta and the desire of the Bhakta to serve Krishna. So then Prabhupada was saying, so you hear about, he said, okay, we'll tell you what. Would you like to go to San Francisco? We can supply you a ticket to go to San Francisco. Would that make you happy? That would be very nice. That you can go to San Francisco. But Prabhupada says, so let's say if we say you want to go to the spiritual world. So hearing about that spiritual world, hearing about that place, so you'd like to think, oh yes, that would be very nice. I would like to go there. I would like to see the Kalpavriksha trees. I'd like to see the Sarabi cows, Mother Jasoda, Nanda Maharaj. Prabhupada was talking about how a crazy person is a person who doesn't know who he is. This is a Krishna reservoir of pleasure. So he said there's your hospital here, your Bellevue hospital for crazy people. So in this material world, we're all more or less crazy. He said there was some murder case in India. And so the murderer, he pleaded, well, I did not know what I do. I became mad. So I bring in the civil court justice. He was a doctor, a psychiatrist, and he examined the man. And so he told the judge, he said, well, in my experience, everyone that I've seen is more or less crazy. But if you want to excuse them, that is one thing. But like that. So by hearing the... So a person, he becomes mad. He does not know who he is. He's falsely falsely identifying himself as being in the material body. But we're in fact, we're actually the spiritual soul, that we're the self within the material body. So then not only that, so engaging in material and sinful activities because of the fact that you are identifying with the material body as self and harming others, then that's even punishable as well, like that. So it's everything's all recycled. The subtle science of the soul is how we're recycling from one body to the next. As the air carries aromas. So Prabhupada says the air carries aromas from the stool place, the bad smell, or the air carries the aromas of the nice from the flower, from the rose flower. So it carries a fragrant flower. So he was comparing that to being Krishna conscious devotional service, being the fragrant, being the fragrant scent, carrying us to our next life, to Krishna loka, to associate with Krishna in our next life, like that. Not a contaminated consciousness, or whatever state of being one remembers at that time. He will attain that state without fail. So Prabhupada would say that a man, he thinks about his woman or his wife, he thinks about her husband, so they might become a man in their next life or become a woman in their next life. If they're thinking about their dog or their cat or the fish, or in the case of Bharat Maharaj, he was thinking of a deer, like that. He fell off the cliff. He was looking for the deer that he became attached to. He raised, and so he fell off the cliff, and then the deer came. He fell off the cliff, and now the deer came and was licking his body, and so he finally found a deer, but it was too late. He lost his life. So in this way, he was thinking about the deer, like that, and became a deer next life. But there was a special concession, is that he could remember. Due to the grace of the Lord, he could remember his previous lifetimes. So he just stayed near the hermitage of great saints and sages, and you can hear their speaking on the Vedanta, where they're describing the pastimes of the Lord and chanting the names of the Lord. So in this way, he just stayed close to the hermitages and took the benefit of the saintly persons, like that. And do we have any questions or comments? You have a question there?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thanks for the nice class. Please accept my humble obeisances. I was wondering about being clean and cleanliness, and now, like in this life. Like maybe you could, if you can you talk on cleanliness and how important it is? Or
well, we have our practices. We rise early in the morning. We take bath to purify our bodies. Our spiritual, our subtle bodies have been all over the universe, all evening, all night, right? So then we have our nighttime dirt and consciousness, and so there's external consciousness and there's internal cleanliness. So to be clean both externally and internally. So always think of Krishna and Krishna consciousness, be chaste in body and mind, like that. Control the senses, So it's stated that the devotee or the sannyasi, he takes a shower 3 times a day. Takes shower when he rises, takes shower when he passes stool, and again takes shower in the evening and change clean clothes. But internal cleanliness is always thinking of Krishna in the mind, like that. Not so much rubbish. So Prabhupada was saying crossword puzzles, whatever they're playing checkers and chess and golf, like that, or the statistics on the ball game, like that. So we think about Krishna in various aspects. But there's verses that one visualizes, sees by hearing about Krishna and his activities, that Krishna, is laying and sitting, and he's, acting, carrying out so many different roles, within ourselves, like that. So Prabhupada, he was saying another thing. So by hearing about Krishna and hearing about Krishna's activities and his associates, is compared to a person who has amnesia. So what the cure for amnesia is they bring persons that he knows into his room to speak to him. They'll bring his family members or his wife. Jai Gaura Nitai Ki Jai. They'll bring his friends in, and they'll show him pictures and talk about old times and like that. Because what happens is that somebody with amnesia, if they can start to remember something, then it'll all come back. Like that. So that's so by hearing. So materially, we have the material amnesia of the forgetfulness of Krishna consciousness, and we don't actually really know what our actual real swarup is, or our relationship with Krishna, like that, which we're reestablishing, like that. So by hearing about the topics of Krishna, about Godhead, and hearing about Mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj and the coward boys, Sri Ram and Radharani, the gopis, like that, then we can start to remember if this can come back and we can revive our lost God consciousness or lost Krishna consciousness by hearing about these activities, like that. So, there's like, was it in the morning when Mother Yasoda is addressing Krishna and all the women, they're cooking breakfast and they're bringing their breakfast over to Krishna's house for Mother Yasoda to offer to Krishna. Even Radharani makes a preparation, and I believe somebody brings it over. I don't think she brings it over personally. So there's like a lot of really nice descriptions of how things are going on in Goloka Vrindavan. The Gokula Vrindavan, the Goloka Vrindavan. It's the same, it's non-different. So you have a question?
Hey Krishna Prabhu, thank you for a nice class, and just a short comment that when you were speaking about that Krishna is sharing his food with cover boys, in spiritual world. So I was just thinking that Krishna is sharing also his food here. He got deities and remnants from Krishna, so we can have this consciousness that, like in spiritual world, Krishna is sharing his, samosas and ladus and everything there. So he's doing the same here, but
Yeah, like there's a whole festival here in a higher sense that Lord Chaitanya is Krishna and Lord Nityananda Ram is Balaram, and all the coward boys are present.
Right.
There's chapters in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita where they're in the mood of coward boys. And there was one that's the Vrindavan pastimes. Lord Nityananda became Seshananda God. Lord Chaitanya became Vishnu. And there's the various demigods, Brahma and Shiva, Narada, who were present in there. So, Prabhupada was, and there are also descriptions of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda and all the associates having like big giant feasts. All the preparations were all mentioned, how there were so many pots and buckets of, chipped rice and yogurt and bananas and, shrikhan and, all really nice things, served on plantain leaves, coconut, and all the devotees were simply just ecstatic. They were chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Bol, like that. So, we can look forward to this, that we can associate with Krishna in any of these relationships, either Lord Chaitanya. There was some yasis. They were saying that one of the devotees who had departed, he mentioned that that there are now in Lord Chaitanya's congregational movement. And he said, what? Don't you go back home, back to Godhead, back to Krishna Loka? Like that. So either which way, there's no difference. It's the same. They're simultaneously participate in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement and associating with Krishna intimately, directly, it's exactly the exact same thing. However, Krishna and the Bhakta want to serve, or where Krishna wants to be served. Krishna's desire, the Bhakta's desire for devotional service and intimate, loving relationship. So, are there any other questions or comments, or we can end class there? Okay, Jai Srimad Bhagavatam class ki Jai.